Holy Roman Empire is ascendant. The provinces of Francia and Italia have been brought back under imperial rule. Now the empire can begin to look outwards. To the south, the Iberians still occupy territory that is rightfully considered Holy and Roman. To the north, the perfidious English continue to exist. And to the east, the Hungarians continue to chip away at the empire's borders. The time has come for the empire to look outward. Welcome back to our Karling restoration campaign. Today we're going to try and do a few things. I'd like to fully annex France so that I can become them. And I can move my capital back to a real city. Instead of Paris, we can move back to our beautiful Aachen. Let me just check. How much war score is it going to cost to annex France? It's going to cost around 350. So it will take around 4 wars maybe? We'll see how that goes. They're currently fighting a coalition. Depending on how much land the coalition takes from them, it's possible that it will take less. I also want to begin attacking Castile and Aragon, who both control territory that is rightfully Holy and Roman. Aragon controls this location here that belongs to Toulouse. And of course Castile controls all these locations here that are rightfully Aquitanian. It also feels rather relevant to mimic Charlemagne and go on a misadventure into Iberia. We have been allied with Castile for quite a while, but they've never really been very helpful, so I think it's time we just cut them off. We're done with you. We'll be relying on our vassals to fabricate CBs on them so that we can take their land. What I may do is leave Aragon and Castile with small amounts of territory that our vassals have CBs on so that we can continuously produce CBs. We'll of course have to see how that goes. We also release Champagne so that they can get their own CB on France for us to expand in that way. I've been looking for it and I don't think I can find it. A button that adds all of our land to the HRE all at once. There was one in EU4, but I haven't been able to find one in EU5, and it's pretty annoying having to add every single province to the HRE in this way. I swear there must be a button, I just haven't found it. If you know it, be sure to tell me. When it comes to fighting England, we'll definitely need to get a navy. We currently don't have any ships outside of the few levies we can call up. England has infringed on the HRE though. They've taken Amsterdam, which means we should be able to fabricate an Imperial band CB on them just to liberate that territory. But if we actually want to invade England, we'll need a navy. One thing I'd like to do is end the League War. It's been going on a while now. I don't know if it ends inconclusively. I suppose if no league controls any land in Italy. But we can probably win. We're the strongest league currently. If we dissolve the other leagues, we should just win. And it'd be a good opportunity for us to take apart some of the stronger leagues here, like the League of Ferrara. Ferrara has managed to expand quite a lot into Italy proper. And I'd rather reduce their size a bit and release some of the nations that they've taken. They're a little too big for my liking. So I'm thinking we use the League War as an opportunity to crack down on Ferrara. Milan too is always worth decreasing in size, so I think we'll do the same thing to them. Funnily enough, we did release these guys from Milan, and they've allied with Milan, which, you know, I suppose makes sense, but not really for the Milanese. Why would they ally with the country that they probably just want to re-annex? Either way, not a big deal, but who should we go with first? Well, Ferrara is currently fighting France in the anti-France coalition, so we don't really want to distract them. Or do we? They should be pretty weak because, you know, they're using their resources to fight the French. At the same time, we don't really want the coalition to lose, so taking numbers away from the coalition might cause a French victory. Currently, the Frarans are basically holding up the coalition. If we take away this 15,000, the French would probably outnumber them. So I think we'll leave the Frarans. Instead, we'll go for Milan. See if we can't cut them down to size. Milan, of course, is going to call in all of its members of its league, but we still outnumber them heavily, so I'm not really concerned. I think we're just going to declare war. We're going to lose stability for some reason. Because we have great relations, let's insult them, and then we won't have great relations. Apparently our relations are still too good. They're only 61. I'm not sure I consider that good. Either way, we can afford a little stab hit. Stab exists to be spent after all. We're not going to call in anyone because no one's willing to join, but we should just be able to win with all our vassals. As I mentioned, we'll use the war as an opportunity to crack down on some of the other HRE states and see if we can't force them to release some of the land that they have that maybe belongs to other people. I didn't notice, but apparently we are actually the diplomatic hegemon, though there's a chance we're going to lose it to Khmer in a minute. That's nice, I guess. It's not that big of a deal, though. Ooh, Martin Luther's here. Where's he spawned? Thoughts of disapproval against the Roman Catholic Church are spreading across Europe following the increased practice of indulgences, raising questions concerning the greed of the church. Only time will tell what this might bring. We all know what it's going to bring. It's going to threaten our Holy Roman authority. I suppose we'll just have to keep an eye on things. Now we're likely to see princes converting to Protestantism, which is going to lead to a drop in imperial authority, but there's not much we can really do about it, other than potentially force them to convert back. And funnily enough, forcing people to convert to the correct religion doesn't actually give us any imperial authority, so it's not that big of a deal to do. Doesn't really have any benefits, but oh well. The fact that there are heretics within the empire is a negative in of itself, because they decrease imperial authority just from their presence. We can see that the current spread of the Reformation is mainly located in the area around Bohemia, where it will spread from. Managed to beat up Cologne, will force them to release some of the land that they've taken from other people and give us some money. They are an elector, so they won't like that, and it looks like we've lost their vote, but that's only because we're at war. Since we're at peace now, they should switch back and vote for us. They know what's good for them, and they know the proper emperor when they see him. Looks like the coalition against the French is over. They've been forced to spit out East Luxembourg, this nation here. Anyone else? I don't think these guys were around before, and I don't think these guys were around either. The war score for... Oh, and this really bright blue nation definitely wasn't around. In fact, now there's two of them. There's the Prairie Gold that is the French vassal, and then there's the other one that's now became independent. How horrible. France is really weakened, so I'm actually thinking we declare war on them right now while we're still fighting the Milanese. Our vassal has given us the claim on them. They're very weak. They are in a coalition with us, so they'll call their coalition members, but maybe it's better this way. We'll fight them with all their coalition friends and destroy them before they cause potential trouble in the future. We're also going to call up our levies, I think, just so they can siege down France while we're busy with Milan. The Reformation is spreading pretty fast now around the area. We could actually embrace it. We aren't going to, obviously. The Catholic Church is Charlemagne's church, so we're not going to turn our back on it. Whoops, while I wasn't looking, our main army actually got stack wiped. We've now lost our very large regular army. Although some of them are still around, it looks like as captives. As I said, whoops. That's how things go though. We can always just recreate them. We have the treasury for it. And we immediately lost great power status from losing our army. What a foolish move, but sometimes foolish moves are what happens. That's what I get from sieging down forts so far away from my territory and being distracted by all of this French land I want to occupy. One thing we have done is occupy this little French nation down here. We're going to full annex them. They are of course part of France, so we want their land for ourselves. It'll give us a little aggressive expansion, but what are you going to do? A small price to pay to bring more of France back under the reign of the Karling family. Now we can think about what we're going to take from the old French. We want to avoid returning the land Champagne has on France, obviously, because if we return that, we'll lose access to our CBs. So with that in mind, what I think we're going to do is take France's southern territories and leave them northernlymost territories under their own control. Could we full annex France now, actually? We might be able to. It's going to cost that we'll need to siege down their capital and then have a look. I think we can full annex France, unless I'm missing something. I don't think I am. We do just need to occupy the fort here, but I think this is it. France is going to disappear from reality. Something we're all kind of begging for. Not really, well, not quite, I suppose. You'll see. Have we done it? I think we might have. We might have fully destroyed France. Let's make sure to return Champagne's land to it, though. Where is Champagne? They're not in the list. For some reason, they're not showing up in my list of land to return as cores. Unless I'm not seeing them. But I mean, I don't see how I would not see them. Ah, well, I guess I'll take it all for myself then. And there we go. Has France been eliminated? They have. So we should be able to form France now. Yes, we can see it there. We just need to get 335 locations within France, and we can become France. Live long enough as the hero, and you'll live to become the villain. We need to conquer a fair amount of land to form France, though. Currently, we pretty much dominate all of France, either directly or through vassals. I think we're going to start thinking about integrating Brittany and Normandy. How many locations do they have? Brittany's only got 27. Normandy's got 27. They've got far fewer than I thought they did. Oh, on that note, since we annexed France, did we gain all their vassals? We did. We've gained all the French vassals. There are vassals now. Still, I'm not really seeing the 335 provinces or locations. Does it mean we have to have all of France? I'm not sure, but I'm sure we'll find out. Now we just need to finish up our conflict with Milan. Then we can start thinking about our next moves. Some of the smaller remnant states here in the French territory have started making us their rivals. So that means we can get the destroy enemy and destroy rival CBs on them. So I think we'll begin working on that. It'd be kind of nice if they did form a big coalition against us, because then we could fight multiple of them at once and just annex all of them. As always, we'll just have to see how things go. Our ruler has died and we've actually lost the Holy Roman Throne. I guess we've racked up a little too much antagonism, but hopefully we can correct the issue. Problem is, one of the electors has actually rivaled us, so they're never going to vote for us now. Hopefully we can bring the others round to our way of thinking. Ooh, and the coalition actually attacked us before we could get into a good position. I am pretty confident about this, though. Who's the strongest? I mean, they've got Ferrara, they got Austria. Is that really it for noteworthy countries? I think so. I'm not seeing anyone else particularly noteworthy. Well, we've got, of course, ourselves, we've got Denmark, we've got Bohemia, we've got all of our vassals, and all of the free cities, who are still our subjects, even though we've lost the Holy Roman Emperorship. That's all nice. We just need one person in the HRE to vote for us to win. We're kind of just going to ignore the coalition for the moment. I really just want to finish this war with Milan. We're close. We just need a little bit more war score, and we can enforce the Holy Roman Empire getting bogged down in a war in Italy. Name a more iconic duo. When it comes purely down to numbers, us and the coalition are pretty equal, but the coalition is led by a very weak state up here, who I believe I actually released at some point from another nation. Yes, the fact they still remember that we liberated them. They don't remember it enough, clearly. We could hire mercenaries, and I might actually do so. Let's hire a mercenary band and have them do all the fighting for us. It's been a while since I've hired any mercenaries. Let's not hire a crazy amount. Let's say 1,000 gold worth of mercenaries. Ooh, actually we're too far north. I guess we could hire them in the south. We'll hire them in the south. These Castilian mercs. There, we finally defeated Milan. Was it worth it? Probably not. So we'll disband their league and we'll force them to release 2 nations, further decreasing their power. Not much of a win, but it's a win either way. Then we'll head home. Despite having near equal numbers, the coalition isn't doing too well, and that's what we like to see. We're going to focus on occupying the leader of the coalition and see if we can't force him to the peace table. Looks like he's already willing to consider peace. Before we make peace, though, there's one thing we want to demand, or we want to see if we can demand it. I recall there was supposed to be an option to disband the coalition. I'm not seeing it, though. Was it removed? Am I just blind? Ah, there it is. Dissolve the coalition. Unfortunately, it's a lot of war score, and I'm not sure it's worth fighting the war for potentially years just to give them the Can't Create Coalition treaty on them. It does stop them forming a coalition for 15 years, but I don't think I want to fight the coalition for 15 years the first time round. So we'll see how it goes. The war hasn't been going on very long at all, but if it looks like it's going to take a long time, I think we'll just peace out instead of fighting a potential forever war. Ah, there we go. We've managed to retake the Holy Roman Emperorship. There, we've beat the coalition. We're going to force them not to form a coalition against us for 15 years. Hopefully we can correct the world's view of us during that time. We did manage to recover a small part of our righteous army, these 3 infantry units, a far cry from the full strength of our army at its height, but we'll make do. We are seeing a lot of nations starting to embrace the Reformation now. There's around 10 million Protestants up against our 66,000 Catholics now, so they are starting to become a bit of a problem. We're going to have some minor revolts against us, but they shouldn't be a big deal. We're going to start thinking about integrating our vassals now, since we've gained all those French vassals, and a lot of them are rather small. It shouldn't be much work to integrate them. We're going to have to wait for a lot of them though. So instead we're going to focus on integrating vassals like Brittany and Normandy. They provided us a lot of support over the years, but now we no longer really require their services. The thing is, of course, that annexing these guys is going to take quite a while because of their size, but we'll just bite the bullet, I guess, and get on with it. Ooh, looks like Bohemia's switched to Protestantism. In fact, Denmark has as well. We're actually going to lose our union with Denmark because I think they've converted to Protestantism, as has our ruler. But one of his sons, his eldest, who for some reason is hanging out in Essen, has stayed Catholic, while the other has become Protestant. So the throne is going to split. Unless one of them dies before their father. We'll have to see if that does happen. This religion is going to become a bit of a problem. We're going to switch our heir religion over to same religious group. That way we'll be able to have heirs of a different religion. Then we're going to try and enforce that succession law onto Denmark. In amongst all the chaos, we have managed to acquire enough imperial authority to pass another reform. I think we're going to go for the final tier of the Diet, just because it'll make everyone a little happier, make the free subjects a little happier, because I believe it gives them a lot of power in the votes going forward. And since they're all our slaves, I mean vassals. Maybe giving them a lot of power in the Diet would be a good idea. So I think we're just going to pass that. One of our vassals has decided to attack Castile, and they've called us into the war. I guess we'll accept. I'm not sure why. It's a cut down to size CB. We're not the head of the conflict though. Oh, or are we? Are we the leader? I guess we are. I guess we could take this chance to weaken Castile. We could return all of the... Wait a minute. Oh, I see. Or not. These guys have become independents. For a second I thought they were rebels. But the ones fighting are these guys and they are not secessionists. I didn't notice when these guys gained their independence. That's good to know though. We could definitely attack them to return Aquitaine's land. We'll think about that once we deal with the Castilians here, I guess. But we are leading the war. So maybe what we'll do is we will cut... Oh, Galicia has become independent. They are a vassal of Castile though. Who knows what's been happening over here in Iberia. But we could take the opportunity to reduce Castile in size. Maybe we could release Navarra. Navarra probably wouldn't join the HRE though, which is unfortunate. What I'd like to do is really, maybe what we'll do is we'll take a little bit of land that belongs to Navarra and then use that to release Navarra and then expand it. We could do something similar with Leon and maybe with Valencia. We can see that Aragon's getting pretty eaten up over here. So maybe we could release get a tiny piece of Valencia, release them and return their cause. Granada is still around in the south. But they're another option of a nation we could release. Unfortunately, there's no other nations with cause on the Castilian interior, so we're likely just going to end up making our own vassals there. This should be a very simple war. We vastly outnumber the Castilians. Maybe we'll actually sit this one out and let our vassals do it. I suppose we still have those mercenaries left from before. We could send them. They've been very much whittled down, but they only have a few months of service left. 18, so the least they could do is win us some fights maybe, or they could get immediately stack wiped. Maybe we should call someone up, just because the Castilians are walking around with 41,000 men. We have replenished a little bit of our standing army. There's now 15,000 of them. No cavalry though. Been holding off expanding our cavalry due to the expense, and I really like to get my inflation down to 0 before I make any big purchases in order to save some money. I think we'll take our main army over though. What is the Castilian main army looking like? They only have 4,000 regular infantry and then 600 cavalry. So purely based on numbers, our 15,000 infantry should be able to solve the conflict on their own, really. It's going to be a bit slow going just because we have to take these... Ooh, wait a minute. Hold out allies. It looks like they're going to win, or actually we didn't need to help. It looks like they called up the soldiers in the fort, so we immediately took that fort. I was going to say we're going to get delayed by the forts, but the Castilians risked it all, and now we can enter the interior of the nation. We'll forge ahead and encourage everyone else to follow. Castile doesn't really have many forts in the interior, so now that we're here, we should be able to make a lot of progress. Ah, there's their main army. Is that the main army? Yes, it's pretty much all of their army, plus maybe some hostages. Could we defeat them straight up with ours? Oh, it looks like they think they can attack us. Well, feel free to, my friends. We should just eviscerate these guys. Or maybe not. Maybe it's actually going to be closer than I thought it would be. I don't know. It looks like we're winning. The lack of cavalry is what's really putting us on the back foot, though. It looks like we are getting reinforcements coming in from our vassals, though, but I think we're going to win even without them arriving. We're about to break one of their flanks. Yep, and now their center is likely going to fold. Yep, and then there's just the last flank. Even before allies arrived. I guess I overestimated the Castilians. For a second I thought they might be a problem. But no, they were defeated. We did lose a fair amount of men, but that's what manpower's for. To be spent, right? I think it's time we make peace with Castile. We've beat them pretty handily. What we're going to do is we're going to return these two cores to Aquitaine. Then we're going to take this location here, which we will release Leon in. Then we're going to take a location here, which we're going to release Catalonia in. Then we're going to release a location here to release Valencia. And then we're going to take a location here to release Granada, who they did annex during the war. One other thing is, should we steal Galicia? It would give us quite a lot of antagonism, at least 100 odd. But would it give it with anyone relevant? I'm not sure. It would mainly give it people who already hate us. I think we'll leave it. We'll leave for Galicia for another time. We'll take this, we'll take some money, and then we'll go home. We'll immediately release Valencia, Navarra, Leon, Granada, and of course, Catalonia. There we go. Now we're primed to fight them again and restore lots of land to our vassals. Instead of making peace now, one of the reasons I didn't take a lot of land from Castile is when I declare on these guys who declared independence. They're also allied with these guys here, who we're going to call in, who's going to get called in as a co-belligerent, and we're going to full annex. They're also allied with these guys here, so we're going to call them in again. Are they allied to anyone of note? Not really. So we'll call these two in, and we'll full annex them. That's really going to rack up our antagonism, but it's a small price to pay. I'd really like to get rid of a lot of these smaller nations in France, because they're the ones who really hate us due to antagonism of us conquering France. So I'd rather just take them all out, even if it does lead to quite a bit of aggressive expansion down the line. We'll see though, if it turns out to be a little too much, we can always take a step back. There we go. As discussed, I think we're going to annex all these guys. It's going to give us some antagonism, but only 140 odd. And again, mainly with French people and those banks, they hate it. But I'm sure it'll be fine. Even if they form a coalition, we'll probably just beat them, right? We've actually managed to gain enough imperial authority to pass another Roman law. I've been thinking about what to pass, and we've passed pretty much everything that we want at its maximum level, so we just need to start going down the things maybe we didn't care so much about. One of those being internal war, the other being this imperial register. I think we're going to start going down this one, or maybe not. It angers people. I guess instead let's start going down the imperial peace path. It doesn't upset people, which is why I prefer it, especially in this situation where a lot of the HRE has converted to Protestantism. We can see the numbers of Protestants. Either way, I think it's better to kind of try and keep the Holy Roman Empire on side at this point, at least until it's time to deal with the rebellious folk. On that note, actually, let's actually look. Are we still going to win? We're still going to win pretty easily. I don't think any of the no, actually a few of the electors have converted. In fact, I think most of them have. Yeah, there's only one Catholic elector left, but they still love us. They still think we're amazing, as they should. Finally, the Council of Trent has been declared. His Excellency, the Pope, who has 7 children, and is also an admiral, and is on his second wife, has invited us to the Council of Trent to debate the required reforms to remedy the corruption and other afflictions of the Church. The Council will discuss what constitutes Lutheran heresy, and consider the definition of Church teachings in the areas of Scripture and tradition, original sin, justification, sacraments, Eucharist in Holy Mass, and the veneration of saints. It will also try to answer Lutheran disputes by considering curbs on practices that become a stain on the Church's reputation. For instance, the frequent absentism of bishops and various worldly excesses of the clergy. We must deliberate on our position. The Council of Trent has never really worked well in the EU5. I'm not sure it works that well in EU4 either, but we'll see how it goes. I don't think I've ever bothered engaging with it much. But we can change how each law works, or at least we can debate how they work. The first thing I think we're going to want to change is the tithe. I'm not sure I like the idea of our pops paying money to the church, so instead I think we're going to switch over to the version where we don't pay any sort of tithe at all, or at least the tithe modifier is reduced. If we look at one of our estates, can we see how much they're paying through the tithe? Yes, here. We can see that the nobility is spending 12 ducats on the tithe. It wouldn't make that much of a difference to them if they weren't paying that, or anybody else. The main thing that appeals to me about getting rid of the tithe is that it will give us a little push towards innovation, and innovation is nice. It'll also give the church access to a new resolution which increases pop conversion speed by 33% across the Catholic world for 10 years, which will help with converting these wayward Protestants. So I think we're going to try and force through this one. We'll see if we're able to pass it. It looks like everyone's against us. Maybe because we're the one that called it. You know that we're a little controversial on the world stage at the moment. To be fair though, a lot of people against it are people who actually love us, as well as people that hate us. This is one of the reasons why I didn't really bother with the Council of Trent before. Oh well, the Pope has voted for it. At least we've got the Pope on our side. He agrees. Everyone else in the world, though, disagrees. Surely the Holy Roman Emperor and the Pope should be the deciding votes of whether something passes or fails. I mean, who are these people? Nobodies. How dare they decide what laws pass and which ones fail? Since we failed to pass the laws that get rid of the tithe, we're going to try and change the purchase of indulgency law. We'll go to the one where nobody pays any indulgences, which will give us access to this resolution, which increases pop convergency by 33%, the same resolution as before. I'd like that resolution to exist, so let's see if everyone will vote for this one or whether they'll vote against it. Well, a few people are voting for it. Maybe this will be a little closer as a vote goes. I don't think we're going to win though. It looks like we're going to lose this vote as well. Unfortunate. Maybe it is just me. Maybe I'm just too controversial a figure to be trying to pass reforms. Oh, apparently that law succeeded. It didn't look like it should have succeeded. It had more votes against than for. Maybe I just don't understand how this works. But since it did succeed, maybe we should consider trying to push another one. Next, let's try and change the prosecution of witchcraft. I think we'll just try and ban the prosecution of witchcraft outright. I mean, that's the only two options, supporting it or banning it. Let's see if this one will pass. And just as we click the button, the Emperor dies. Luckily, we were able to pass the law that allowed us to retain control of our throne. Unfortunately, though, we've ended up in an odd situation. Both of our brothers have gone off and become preachers. One a Catholic, the other a Lutheran. And our current ruler hasn't had any children, despite having a wife. Hopefully, he can create some sort of child before he dies. He's already 45. I'm not sure who would succeed if he did die. We could switch over to matrilineal non-exclusive, which would allow our younger brother to be elected, even though he's become a priest. But let's see if we can actually create a child first. The Karling dynasty has been kind of eviscerated. There's only 24 of us left. Well, a daughter has been born, young Denise, but wait a minute. Granada's gone to war with Castile? Why? It's another cut down to size, CB, is it? Yeah. Okay, I guess. If you're just going to keep declaring war on them, I guess I'll keep joining. For some reason, Aragon decided to ally with Castile, despite Castile just taking them apart in a rather not so friendly way. But even with them, I doubt the Castilians can stop us. They're currently in a civil war as well. Our 35,000 men should be able to win pretty handily. Aha! And now we've entered the age of the Reformation. And we changed our flag. I'm going to miss our weird lion. I think everyone changes their flags in this era. Yes, for some reason, this is the era where people change flags. On that note, England actually embraced Anglicanism rule here. So what do we want to pick for this age? We always go admin. But I think this might be the age where it's not really worth going admin, if my mind isn't playing tricks on me. Well, admin's pretty good for increasing tolerance for heretics and heathens. It also increases cultural capacity by 2, which is pretty great, as well as increasing max minting by 10%, and we're making quite a lot of money through minting right now. We're currently making 170 or so ducats, and then an extra 20% trade advantage, some 2% tax efficiency, some pop conversion speed, building road speed. All pretty nice. What about Diplo? We get some tax efficiency, more tax efficiency than in admin. Some efficiency of cabinet, maximum diplomats +1, trade maintenance -10, market attraction, diplomatic reputation +2, trade capacity +10, colonization, we don't care about that, colonization, we don't care about that. Navy maintenance, we still don't have a navy. Now, mill. I think mill's actually the one I usually pick in this age. Fort defense +20, cultural capacity +25%, siege ability up 20%, hostile attrition +1%, garrison size and garrison growth up, and local access to raw materials +2.5. I really do like the siege ability +20. I also really like the hostile attrition +1, because currently armies don't take attrition as long as they have food supplies. But with that, it means anyone that enters our territory will take attrition, whether they're supplied or not, of at least one. One of the reasons why playing as a pagan is quite powerful, because you can actually stack attrition just from gods to about 2 just from being a pagan. At the same time, cultural capacity plus 25%. Is that as good as plus 2? I don't think it is. It will depend on what our cultural capacity currently is. 4.5. So grabbing that would increase it by around 1 as opposed to the 2. But if we increase our cultural capacity higher, I think it will end up being better than the admin one. So we're going to go mill. It's rare to do, but I'm going to go for it. We're of course not going to be able to begin researching any Age of Reformation texts because we need the institutions to spawn. Are any of them going to spawn in our territory? Artillery might. It's most likely to spawn in Paris. Global trade is also most likely to spawn in Paris. Confessionalism, though, I don't think any of our locations are on the top for confessionalism. I guess we'll see. There goes the artillery. It didn't spawn in Paris, unfortunately. It spawned all the way in Poland. But that's how these things go. Not a big deal. I'm sure we'll survive. Global trade spawned in Paris, though. Excellent. Kind of weird invading a country that has a rebellion like this going on. It's like there's this horrible growth between the land where we can't access it because it's rebel territory, but they could potentially come out of it and get to us. We've bullied Aragon a respectable amount. Now we'll need to decide what to do with them. I think we're going to steal their vassal they have here. They're in France, so we'd like to steal them and make them ours. It's not going to give us much aggressive expansion, only around 30. Then I think we're going to return, or maybe we shouldn't. Maybe let's leave it. We'll grab their vassal. Oh, let's force them to break their alliance with Castile. They don't even have an alliance. Why are they even in this war? They're allied with Portugal. Oh, are they in a union with Castile? No, they're not. I'm not even sure why Aragon's in this war. Maybe they broke their alliance at some point. They're definitely helping Castile in the civil war with the rebels. They do have a truce, so I assume they broke the alliance probably after they joined the war with us. So as discussed, we'll just take their vassal, piece them out. That counts as releasing an Imperial prince as well, so we gain some Imperial authority. Ooh, while we were fighting, I think one of the electors got annexed. Yeah, they did. Who annexed them? We see. Yeah, they're gone. And it looks like it was mines that got them into elector warfare. So I guess we need to pick another elector. They have to be an archbishop, though, so that decreases our options. We've got Salzburg over there. We've got Bremer. Not sure where they are. They're up here in northern Germany. Where's the other 3? There's Metz, there's Basel, and there must be one more, but I don't think I can see them, and this list doesn't show me what I want to see. Oh, there it is. Murbach. Maybe we'll do Murbach. They really like us. Let's sort by relationship and see who's highest. Now, if only it showed the countries that are actually eligible. There we go. So Muckbach is the one that likes us the most, so I think we'll make them the guy. Or even are they? Oh, they're right on the border. Are they within what the world considers France? They're not. They're right on the border. Well, Muckbach, that sounds like elector material to me. Just make sure to vote for the right guy. Fortunately, we're not even eligible to be elected right now because we don't have an heir. We only have a daughter, and she doesn't count. And I still don't know why all of my rulers are having numbers in their names instead of Roman numerals. Damn you, Gustav Wilhelm IV, have a son. I think we're going to end the war with Castile now. One of the annoying... oh, wait, actually, I was going to say one of the annoying things is we can't demand land from the rebels that are fighting against Castile. But it looks like Castile managed to take a bit of this land that is Navarran cores. Can they take this tiny bit up here? I don't see any Castilian soldiers around. But it'd be really nice if they did. Oh, Aragonese soldiers are here. If they come and take it. Nah, looks like they're going a different way. But because they're at war, we can't take land from the rebels, which is really annoying, and of course stops us from taking the land we want to take. But I think we're going to end it sooner rather than later. I don't really want to sit here waiting potentially for rebels to hand back territory. But let's give Navarra everything we can potentially give them. Nice big Navarra, you love to see it. Who else should we give out land to? Well, Catalonia and Valencia are kind of going to be disjointed if we give them any land because of how the rebellions have been. So I think it would be Granada. Granada convert to Catholicism? I can't remember. Yeah, they did. I didn't actually convert them. They converted on their own. Are there a lot of Catholics in this province? Yeah, there is. There's actually no Sunnis left, I think. Yeah, it looks like Sunnism is pretty much gone in these lands. So it makes sense that they all switched. They naturally switched to being Catholic. But instead, let's empower them. Let's see how much land we can return to them. This is what a fully restored and operational Granada looks like. Fortunately, it's going to cost us 100 war score to do it, but I don't think it's impossible. Apparently, it would leave them fractured. Oh, probably over here. That's where, if they could reoccupy these lands, they wouldn't consider themselves fractured anymore. So I guess we'll continue the war a bit and see if we can rack up enough war score to make them accept. Even with the fracturing, we're not far off. We just need 40 points. Oh, thank God. Welcome to the world, Prince Francis. Maybe we should pick a better name for him instead of Francis. Well, actually, no. Our last emperor was Francis, so Francis makes sense, being named after his dad. Maybe we'll just be nothing but Gustav Williams and Francis's. Though probably not. You can be a Francis. Welcome to the world, Francis. You have fundamentally solved all of our immediate concerns. Wow, look at that. Nearly everyone's voting for us. And look at that. We actually have a load of imperial authority. We could pass a law. Maybe it is time we start centralizing. Problem is, everyone hates it. It does increase our imperial authority growth, though, as well as gives us a little bit of diplomatic reputation, which is honestly great. Problem is, we can't get to the next tier because we still need those comfort policies. So instead, I think we'll continue marching down the route to enforce internal peace. Nobody hates it, even though they probably should hate the idea of not being able to make peace. Someone else is attempting to use the Council of Trent to get rid of prosecuting the witches. It's actually the Kingdom of Croatia. I think this is going to again fail. We're voting for them. Maybe that was a mistake. Maybe we should have waited for them to gain some progress from other people before we threw our support behind them, because nobody likes us after all. The Aragonese went over and liberated that one province for Navarra, so I think we're going to fully restore all of Navarra's territory now, and we'll give whatever we can extra to Granada. I think we'll go with that. Navarra restored to its full height, although no, actually it doesn't have any cores on these locations or beyond. In France, probably should. Maybe it did. And the Basque people have no longer been a majority in them, so they lost their cores. Either way, Navarra is big, as I like it. Granada's been expanded a little as well. Our union has reached the level where we can start integrating Denmark. We just need to make it so they're a little happier with us, and then we can proceed with that. We're still integrating Normandy. We're 300 of the way there. It's just going to take a while. We've integrated nearly every province. We're down to the last few, so it's about time we think about potential expansion. I think we're going to focus on crushing a lot of these smaller nations within France and taking control of them, just to increase the amount of French territory we control. There is a small coalition against us. Or maybe not that small. They're definitely weaker than us. But I think our next target will be Forez here. One of our vassals already has a CB on them to take a bit of their land. So we'll likely declare war. They're going to bring in their coalition, and they're actually going to bring in the Third Italian League, led by Milan, who I believe Milan recreated this league. Will we ever finish the Italian wars? Maybe. We really just need to crush Ferrara, I think, and dissolve their league, because they're the one calling in everyone. I would have done that if I hadn't been so distracted by continuous wars in Iberia and the whole religious thing, and also having my whole army stack wiped. But that was a separate issue, and definitely my fault. For now, though, I think we're going to leave it here. Not sure why Ruthenia has been upgraded to a realm of Ruthenia, but they have been done. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do let me know what you think. Do let me know if you have any questions. How are we doing economically? We're doing pretty great. 500 of our income is coming straight from our vassals, though. Venice being the real MVP, providing nearly 50 ducats a month. But then most of our spending is going towards diplomatic spending. I'm also spending a bit on stability. We could cut back our army maintenance and the forts if we need to, and our prestige. We don't really need prestige. When you have this much money, it's hard to find things to spend it on. Outside of diplomacy, the real MVP is, of course, the nobles. They're providing a lot of money to the state, and they could always provide more if we could actually increase our crown power, which we've been failing to do for quite a while. It's because of these guys. I forgot that these subjects reduce our crown power, though it doesn't really matter, as we're making so much money anyway. But I completely forgot about them. I guess that's a good sign that we should start integrating them. And it should be fairly easy because a lot of them are tiny. We'll likely hold off until we fully integrated Normandy though, because their integration is still progressing and I don't really want anything to stop it. We could start thinking about just taking land from Normandy. Since we're going to have cored all of our land in a minute, we could start just taking territory from them outright and then coring it ourselves as a separate thing to reduce the cost of integrating them. But we'll see how it goes. We'll have to see what we look like after we attack Forez, which I'll likely do immediately next time. Depending on how much land we take, we might not take land from Normandy, or we might do it anyway. But as I said, this is the end of the video. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time.